everyone! So in my last video, which was my intro to my no-buy year, a lot of people really liked the makeup that I had on there, and a lot of people requested to see a tutorial or get ready with me or something. So I thought that I would take you through it because it's really very simple. So it's just a glowy, heavy blush look. I was inspired by the Igari blush style, the Japanese blush style. It's kind of like the hungover blush, where it's like blush on the all over your nose and like close underneath your eyes. So when I was putting together this look, I knew I wanted to do something quick and something a little bit fresher in the face, and not really something that's eye focused, because that can take me a while. And I was doing filming the video when I didn't have a lot of time, and I wanted to film and edit and upload in the same night. So I'm first putting sort of like a heavy duty moisturizer on my face. This one is from Uemura. It is the Glow Creator Base and Top Glow Boosting Cream. So I've had this for a while. There's a lot of things that are similar to it. The Strobe Cream is like the most intense version from MAC, and when I want a really glowy face, I usually go in with that first. But I wanted something that would be glowy, but not intensely glowy, and my skin has been like crazy dry, I think because of the weird temperature shifts lately. And my skin's like, wow, we don't like this. So I just started by putting this all over my face, and I actually ended up doing my base makeup, my foundation and stuff first before I went into anything on the eyes. But I was really just using blush and a couple other things. I used largely very expensive products, but it's just because I have them. So I know a lot of us are probably on a no-buy or trying to spend less money, so don't feel like you need the same kind of products. You probably have stuff that work for you. I am putting on my eye primer first. I'm trying to get my mirror, I was gonna say my camera tilted, my mirror tilted. So you can see that I don't have my brows on yet. Normally I would do my brows kind of at this stage, and Cashmere, I'm not letting you in this time. No, sorry, baby. Cashmere. Normally I would do my brows at this point, or I had shaved the tails off, but with this kind of a look, I didn't want a really structured brow anyway, so I'll just go in afterwards, after I have my foundation on, and lightly extend the tail, but I'm not looking to do a very sculpted brow with this. And I just like putting my eyeshadow primer on first, because it lets it sit in a little bit, and then I don't have to set it, because I was always setting my eyeshadow primer with like a eyeshadow that matched my skin tone, but I like to skip that step sometimes, because I feel like if I let the primer sit for long enough, then I don't need it, and it's just sort of an extra layer on my face. So for the rest of my face, now I was looking for some sort of glowy primer, because I just don't like putting foundation right on top of my skin. And I'm sure that the Uemura cream would be just fine on its own, but I found my little Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. This is a little sample size, and I thought that I would use this because I didn't really have a face primer that was just a step above hydrating, because I have a really glowy one from Becca, but like I said, I didn't want to be super glowy. I just really wanted a hydrated face. So I'm putting the Smashbox Primer Oil on top of the Glow Cream, kind of as a little bit of a protective barrier. And when I had this on yesterday, it worked really well. I felt like my skin was really hydrated, and I had issues with the primer oil before, or I thought I did. I mean, maybe it's just because my skin has changed. I used it twice in a row and I broke out, and this was like probably a year ago. So I tossed the old one, and this is kind of a new sample, new-ish. My sister gave me a bunch of samples, and this was one of them, and I kind of avoided it for a while, and I thought, you know what, let's just try it. So I'm just making sure that that's really in on my face, and I'm gonna want it to sit for just a minute. I don't want to try to go in with foundation right when this is still really tacky, because I feel like then everything just sort of slides around. I am going to color correct a little bit. I'm trying to avoid using concealer because I really just want to use a minimal amount of product. I had mentioned this in my no-buy video that I was out of my pink corrector, so I do have the peach one from Urban Decay. Now this one doesn't work quite as well for me. I feel like the pink one is more appropriate for my skin tone, but I kind of want to use this up a little bit I did end up using concealer when I did this look yesterday because I felt like I still needed a little bit of brightness, and I'll see what it looks like afterwards if I will go that route or not. And then my green corrector is the Urban Decay, just the green one. The YSL one that I really liked seems to have been discontinued, which is sad. I mean, the Urban Decay one's good. There's a lot less color correctors out now than there used to be. They were definitely pushing color correctors for a while, and now it seems like that trend has passed, so there's very, very few options available, which is sad for someone like me who actually really enjoys using color corrector. So for foundation, this is what I'm using. It's the Physicians Formula The Healthy Foundation, and I'm going in sections. So normally I would just like put streaks all over my face and then kind of mesh the whole thing together. But I thought of this technique again, which I learned from Mariah Leonard after seeing Lisa Eldridge's glass skin video pop up on my feed when I was getting ready yesterday, and I was reminded of how in that glass skin video that Mariah did, she talked about using little product and really going in sections so that you are really only using the least amount of product, but you're still getting good coverage. But the thing is that it's supposed to be like, if you really look close, it should look more like skin. And I really love this foundation for that. It's the best one that I currently have that gives me that sort of dewy skin look, but not like an extremely editorial dewy skin. That would be like the MAC one that I really like, the Mineralized Moisture. That is like intense dewiness, and I love it. I love it a lot, but that's something I pair with like the MAC strobe cream because it would give me the most intense look to my skin. And I am still using an insane amount of product because I really do want full coverage, and also because I am on camera. So when I'm off camera, I tend to use a little less product because I don't need it. I don't need as much coverage. I like to do this kind of motion, and then I will kind of rub it a little bit, but mostly I just tap it in. And it's probably a little strange. But it's what works for me. And I just like going in smaller sections because then the foundation doesn't start to dry down, and it's a lot easier to blend, and it's a lot easier to cover everything. And I'm mostly like, I'm fortunate enough that I don't have any breakouts right now. My scarring is very minimal, which is why I used a little green color corrector on some redness that I had here. And of course I use it on the psoriasis on my forehead. But I feel like with this kind of technique, I get product just exactly where I need it to be, and it's not too much. And then with the products I had on the bottom, like just really making sure to have like heavily moisturized skin is going to work just the best for creating more of like a healthy looking skin. And it was really nice to see a lot of people recognize that when I was looking at the comments for my no buy video. It was kind of because it was exactly what I was going for, and a lot of people got that. So I am bringing a little bit of foundation up towards my eye area because I have a little bit of discoloration there, but not enough that I want to use like a ton of extra product. So I think that should about cover it. It's very, very simple, and because I color corrected, I feel like I don't really need like a lot of concealer. It's tempting to go super bright. Maybe I should just do what I did yesterday anyway. I'll just use the same concealer I did anyway, just to kind of keep it as close to what I did for that video. All right, so I used a YSL Touche Eclat pen, which is kind of a little bit darker than what I would normally like for a concealer, but I found it sitting there in my drawer, and it was one of those neglected products. So Cashmere's killing something outside this room. I'm not sure what's happening. And then I just used a sponge to kind of press it into my skin. So it's not something that I feel like I really need, and not usually a step that I would take having color corrected, but I feel like the peach color corrector isn't the best thing for my particular under eye situation. So, all right. So I'm trying to remember the exact order that I did things in, but I I don't quite remember what I did. I should probably just paint some brows on and come back and we'll start with blush. All right, so I just tried to paint the ends of my brows on a little bit. It's a lot easier to just really do it first and then kind of sculpt it out, but anyway. So the blush I used was from the Anastasia Gradient Blush Kit. I believe this is long discontinued, but I like this assortment of shades. I used this blush right here, which is called Blackberry, and there are quite a few other similar blushes, but I chose that one because I knew I wanted to wear this sweater, and so I wanted something that would be sort of similar-ish to the sweater, and I wanted something a little bit different than the blushes I would normally use for a heavy blush look. Normally I would even go with something more like this shade instead, so I wanted something a little bit different. So word of warning, this is going to look completely crazy until the work is done. When I first started this, I was like, what have I done? And it's the thing that happens with me with pretty much every look. I get to a point where I'm like, I just want to stop this because it is awful. It is truly awful. So I just have this big fluffy blush brush and I'm basically bringing the blush over my nose and then over my cheeks. And then with another smaller fluffy brush, I'm going to start blending it, and I'm blending it up. Now I will also be taking the same brush I had foundation on and also some sponges and stuff because I want to mesh the blush in with the foundation. Cream blush would probably be ideal for something like this. I'm not a cream blush person, so I don't have a whole lot of it. So you can see like the blush is really far down here. So this is just the brush and blush. It's going to be really interchangeable here. So this is the brush I used for foundation, and I'm just lightly dragging that underneath because I don't want the blush to be too far down because it's definitely a different blush placement. It's not conventional, so it can be a little unusual. So it's a lot of going back and forth with the big brush, and then I will use a smaller brush to get more over the bridge of my nose without taking it down too far. Now, when I first started, I thought about doing sort of like a really high intense draping and really making that the focus, but I ended up backing away from that. But I did bring the product down underneath my eyes. So I will just dive in now because this is all just the one same product, still the blush, and I'm running it underneath my eye all the way out so it connects with the blush over here. And I also have the same on my lid, and it's pretty haphazard. I actually brought product all the way up to my eyebrow, but I'm also layering other shadows on top. But I just really want to make sure that it's connected, and it will be kind of heavy at first, and then I will blend the product out. But it's good to have it on first. I'm using a lot of brushes for this. I'm just going back and forth between clean brushes and dirty brushes so that I don't get too much excess product, but it really is just a matter of going back and forth until I'm happy with the way that it looked and still bringing product up high. I fortunately have a lot of these sort of like fluffier style brushes, which are just so perfect for just making sure that everything is blended in. The best thing about this being powder too instead of cream is that you don't have to worry about working really fast with it. You can let it sit for a little bit longer and you'll still be able to blend it out really, really easily. I'm largely ignoring the lower portion of my face, and like a lot of the attention is over here. I really like this brush. This is the brush I've been using a lot for that. I think it's just because it's so long. This is a Morphe brush, don't hate me. It's an E22. I just like that it's a really long brush handle because I really like holding the brush further away because you actually get less intensity than if you were holding the brush like right down here. So I think that's why I like it so much, is because I can kind of hold it from further away. Anyway, that's kind of a weird thing. But I really like this kind of blush style, this kind of makeup style in general, because it's different. It's hard sometimes to think of quick, easy makeup looks that are different, that aren't just the same thing, because I'm so much more of this kind of a person than like the sculpted editorial stuff, which just does not suit me very well at all. I'm gonna finish the eyes in just a second. So normally with like Agari style makeup, you would completely skip highlighter and contour and really just have that emphasis on the cheek area. However, that does not work for me, so I'm using a little bit of contour powder. This is Too Faced, the Cocoa Contour. Just a little bit. I'm definitely not bronzing, but I want a little bit of definition because I need it. And then for highlight, grab my highlight brush. For highlight, I used this ColourPop, I forget what it's called now. It's the Gimme More, and I used just a white, the pan, yay, this white one, because I wanted like a subtle highlight. I didn't want something that was going to be really glowy because I have so much product up here. But again, I just wanted to give my face a little bit more dimension, because otherwise it can look kind of flat, especially in like a camera or photo situation. And again, I'm mimicking where I put the blush as well and putting a little bit of that shimmer. The thing with this particular highlight is that it's not super intense, but it will give me a little bit extra glow and just a little bit of separation, which I really need. So it's almost done. The look is almost done. Now, I was kind of tempted to leave the whole thing like this at first, but it was sort of plain. Like I just like, there's something missing here. So I wanted something a little bit sparkly. So I looked at my Natasha Denona Lila palette and the shade Dragon Bite, which is a duochrome shade. It's like a reddish shade with a little bit of a green highlight in there. And I thought that this would layer pretty interestingly over it, and fortunately it really did, because once you start with something like this, there's really no sort of taking it back. But the tones in the Blackberry blush and with this eyeshadow just pair so beautifully together, and it just gave that little extra thing. So this is a fairly unique shadow, but there are a lot of shadows out there that have that little bit of a green, you know, green-red shift. You can find a lot of things that are these duochrome shadows now. Just this particular one is unique, but obviously it's from a palette. So if you wanted to use a duochrome shadow, you probably already have something like it in one of your other palettes, or even as a single. There's a lot of things out there. You can even look up, Tentalia is a great resource for dupes. And if you look up her review on the Lila palette, you can see dupes for Dragon Bite as well. So I was just packing the shadow on first and then going in with a fluffier brush because I really wanted it everywhere. And I dipped into the wrong shade and grab another brush. Fortunately, I have a lot of these brushes. These brushes are like $3 at Walmart. They're amazing. And I wanted it underneath my eye as well, because I really wanted that shimmer, and I just trusted my instincts at this point. I was like, we are this far in, I think this is gonna look cool, but there's always that chance that things are just not gonna turn out the way that you envision or the way that you hope. But this, fortunately for me, seemed to work out fairly well. And I'm going back in with another clean brush, and I'm just softening where I had the shadow so that it's not just starkly like in my eye area. I'm kind of blending it out a little bit because I really just want it to be a little bit more hazy. That's the kind of beauty with this style of look is that it is pretty hazy and just kind of dreamy, and obviously very like intense, and not something I would see like a lot of people wear like daily. Unfortunately, I really wish more people would wear something like that. So I have a little bit too much right there in the corner of my eye. I'm just taking sponge and lightly pressing over. I'm not like moving the sponge around, I'm just pressing it on top, and it's muting the color a little bit because I tend to gather a lot of product when I blend, like in there in my the corners of my eyes. So once I had gotten to this point, which I still feel like could use a little bit more blending. Once I'd gotten to this point, I still wanted some more shimmer. So I went for my Natasha Denona Gold palette. Told you I used a lot of like pricey products, but this is the shadow I thought of. This white one here called Sparks, because it's basically just sheer white glitter. And when I wanted more glittery intensity, I was like, well, what could I layer on top that would just be glitter? And this shade came to mind because it has like these little tiny bit of gold glitter in there, and it's like the subtlest of differences, but I feel like it really brings out more of the shimmer from Dragon Bite as well, and I feel like it just really melts everything in together. And then I of course love any opportunity to like bathe in glitter, so I also brought it down underneath as well, because I like that this kind of made it look a little bit wet. That's what's really cool about this shadow, is that it's so much glitter, but when it catches the light, it just looks very reflective and almost like a wet sheen. So I then put a little bit of purple into my waterline because I was thinking about using black liner, and I thought black would probably be too much, and I did end up using black liquid liner, but for my waterline I wanted something. And then I took my Viseart Editorial Brights palette and the purple shade, Purple Matte, on top of the purple shadow because it just wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be. And it's not like this purple liner is this star or anything, but I really wanted just a little bit of definition there. And then I decided to go with false lashes. Now, if you have really beautiful full lashes, absolutely do not need to. Like a good coat of mascara, and I think it would look absolutely amazing, but I have really terrible lashes. So I am using a little bit of black liquid liner really close to my lash line. You'll probably notice I stay really far away from winged liner when I do looks. It was one of my bucket list goals to work on winged liner for the year, and as I experimented and as I played, I realized it really just was not the most flattering thing for my particular eye shape. Like, it just really did not suit me. So I need mascara. I need to get a new liquid liner as well. I found like a little sample, little mini one that I had still as a sample, but I need a good full-size liquid liner. I'm gonna use a little bit of mascara first to help the false eyelashes, and then I'm gonna put some lash glue on the lashes that I used. I don't remember the particular style of these lashes. I believe they're Eyelure lashes, but I'm not sure what the name of them are. I just like them because they're kind of spiky, and I love little spiky lashes. I was gonna go for something wispy, and then I thought maybe that would be like too sweet. Like, I was trying to find a balance between dark and light, some sort of fairy vibe, and I like that people picked up on that too. It always helps with like longer hair and a flower crown as well. But I really wanted false lashes because I felt like my eyes were just too plain without them. Like, I feel like the lashes really needed definition. I'm jealous of people who really, I need more lash glue, obviously. I'm using this little mini from House of Lashes, and Sephora doesn't sell the clear House of Lashes anymore, but they still have the darker one. This is the darker one I'm using. They still have the darker one in stock, but this one seems like empty. I'm mad because this is my favorite lash glue, but to order it directly from House of Lashes is too expensive for me. So, okay, that's not working at all. That is done. So, I think I have another, yes, I do have another little mini House of Lashes one. This is just the clear, this is the clear one. This is a little mini one that came in a set. I actually bought a set of lashes, came in a little case from Sephora, House of Lashes, not for the lashes, not for the case, for the lash glue, because it was actually on sale, and it was a much better deal for me to buy these two little minis of the lash glue with the case and the lashes and try and order the full sizes from the site. Now for the lips, very, very simple. So I actually took one of the brushes that I used with the Blackberry blush, and at first I was thinking about something a little bit more editorial and dark. So I just took the blush on the brush and put it over my lips and outside of my lip line. But then I thought that was just a little bit too much, like a little bit too much. With something that would look cool in photos, but not something that would translate well to like a talking video. That's the thing that's hard to balance sometimes, is it's like I want to take really cool Instagram photos, but a lot of the really cool Instagram looks with the way that my eyes are and the way that my face is, I have to like angle myself so strangely in order to like make it visible. So I usually avoid the more complicated things when it comes to talking, chatty videos. Anyway, I'm using an Urban Decay gloss. This is what, Hi-Fi Shine Naked Gloss, just on top, because I figured there's no way like a matte liquid lip would be something that would complement a look like this. Really needs shine. So I do have a little bit of that blush outside of the lip line, just a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I'm gonna get these lashes on now. All right, so I was just having a little bit of problems with my brows. I ran a clean spoolie through them to try and clean them up a little bit, and it just ended up scraping up a ton of product. So I had to try and fix them really fast. But this is basically the entire look. So like I said, it's very, very simple. I just concentrated the blush in a different spot than I normally would have. So I'm just gonna throw on the same wig and headband that I had on in that video, and I'll be right back. All right, so this is the completed look. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you liked this video and if you would like to see more videos like this, and if you'd like to see any other videos focusing mostly on blush, let me know as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.